Yo, what's up, guys? We're back for another video. It's a slightly different video, to say the least. I haven't done a video like this, if my memory serves me right, and it's a specific video about the club. You can clearly see Manchester City, and just a disclaimer: I do support Manchester City, so I will try not to be like biased or like not slate players or not slate Pep when required and stuff. But in this video, basically, I'm just going to be looking at some of the problems that have continued on from last season and some of them that are happening mainly this season. And for people saying they don't have any problems, just please look at the league table. Now, this is this lineup is a big problem for me, and I'm gonna get started with it. I'm just gonna name all the players in the lineup to to say all the players, and then I'm going to talk about each part of the lineup or positions in the lineup which I think are ridiculous in my opinion. So the lineup is as followed: Ederson and goal, Walker, Ruben Diaz, Aymeric Laporte, Joao Cancelo, Ilkay Gundogan, Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, Riyad Mahrez, Raheem Sterling, and Ferran Torres up top. Now, just a disclaimer before I start to get skeptical of this lineup. The forward position has been a big problem for Man City because of Jesus and Aguero's injuries. So right now, Ferran was playing there in the last couple of games before Jesus and Aguero returned. But on average, he's played more games up top than both of them. And it's not just been him, it's been him or Sterling, and they kind of interchange depending on either the game or the team that they're playing. So that's just a disclaimer. Now, let's get started. Now, a lot of people look at this defense and they start pointing out flaws. Now, I do that, but I actually think the defense has been the better part of this Man City team, and that's the alarming thing for me. Because, yeah, Joao Cancelo is not a out-and-out left-back, but he's done an admirable job, in my opinion, playing out of position. And Laporte and Diaz look like they're a partnership for the years to come. Walker is Kyle Walker. He's a ever-present 7 out of 10. Don't let Roy Keane's comments fool you. And the double pivot. Now, this is what pisses me off. Why, Pep? Why do you play a double pivot? I don't understand people who defend this double pivot. Not for this team. Not when you have a double pivot who goes slow the team down. I understand if you're going to Anfield when they have a full crowd and you want to play a double pivot. That is the only game I would be perfectly fine with you playing a double pivot. But when you're in any other game, whether it be against Sheffield United or Manchester United, you have to play the normal 4-3-3 with De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva or Foden lining up in the half spaces with Rodri, Gundogan, or Fernandinho, who's not fit right now, protecting the defense. But you know why you have to play that, Pep? Because that's the lineup that's won you so many goddamn trophies. Did you win the 2017 or 2018 Premier League playing a double pivot? I don't think so. Yes, you would have used it on occasions, but right now we see the double pivot more than we see a normal three midfield. So that has to change. And moving swiftly onto the attack. Now, this has been more injury related, but seriously, the wingers in this team, they amuse me sometimes. And I'm just going to talk about Mahrez because at least Sterling has the goals. Yes, his finishing is not the best. Yes, he's predictable. But when you look at the stats, he's not as bad as people make him to be. Since post-lockdown, him, Danny Ings, and Harry Kane are top scorers. So calm down with the criticism of Raheem Sterling. And that's why I'm not going to criticize him. I'm not going to criticize De Bruyne either because, yes, he looks sluggish, but he's still Kevin De Bruyne. And without him, the Man City don't have a creator. I'm sorry, but if anybody says Bernardo Silva can create as much as De Bruyne, no, he can't. He has a better work ethic, but he can't create anywhere near as De Bruyne can. And Ferran Torres, he's been excellent, to be honest. Ferran Torres is probably one of City's most shining light, one of City's biggest shining lights in this whole season so far. Now, I'm talking about Riyad Mahrez because this guy pisses me off, not going to lie. And I know since Jesus has come back, Mahrez has not been playing that much. But no, this guy pisses me off, bro. I can't understand how despicable this man is right now. Yes, he scored a wonder goal for Algeria. I get it. And I don't know if it's a psychological thing, which is why sometimes I feel a bit bad for him. What's wrong with him? He's literally, his whole thing is cut inside. Do you know how predictable you get? You're not Arjen Robben. You can't keep cutting inside and going inside because defenders will start to just jockey you. That's so stupid. It pisses me off because he makes already our attack is incredibly predictable. And Leroy Sané, in theory, right? Raheem Sterling and Leroy Sané were the deadliest wing duo City have had in years. And take Sané out, put Sterling in that position, you lose a lot already. You put Mahrez in Sterling's original position, and you're just being stupidity. And that's why I think when Aguero does play, or when Jesus does play, it has to be Varane and Raheem. Because Varane can play in the left wing, and it gives me Leroy Sané vibes. Just go back to the 6-0 thumping of Germany, where Sané was nowhere and Varane was everywhere. So that's all I'm going to talk about the lineup. But just another thing, lose the double pivot. Please lose the double pivot. I know I've said it and I'm going to say it again. Lose the double pivot. It's not going to work. It can't work. This team is not used to playing defensive football. And when you do defensive football, do it right. What's the point of playing a double pivot if you're not going to be able to fucking do it right? It's pissing me off. It pisses all of us off. And so this is a pretty understandable one. Yes, he's looked tired, lethargic, blah, blah, blah. But the fact is that he's Kevin De Bruyne. Okay, there's no doubt about it. He's Kevin De Bruyne. He's the single reason Man City are going to win anything, if they win anything this season. And you just got to move on. He's the best player in the league, by the way. And he's single-handedly saving City a lot. It's more subtle this season, but it's still evident how important he is. Now, worst positions. Now, this is a controversial one because most people say, oh, your defense is your worst position. And I know I've been very critical of Mahrez myself, who's not a defender, who's an attacker. But in my opinion, I don't think Man City have a worse position. I think if this was last season, you could clearly say the centre half or maybe the left back, not this season. So if that's not the problem, what is? These three images, which I'm going to talk about in more depth, highlight the problems. One of which is the scoring problem. Oh my god. This is, again, back to the double pivot, and it's back to the lineup because Man City have become more defensive, and Man City have 9 goals this season. That's not acceptable for a team that has won the Premier League in 2 seasons, one of which with 100 points, by the way. It's simply not acceptable that a team like Man City have less goals than West Ham, Aston Villa, Everton, Southampton, Leicester. It's Tottenham Hotspur, who literally have one of the most defensive coaches in the world, Jose Mourinho. It's quite crazy. Man City have the same amount of goals as Fulham. They have 1 more goal than Fulham. Just take that in. Manchester City have 1 more goal than Fulham. It's mind-boggling, and they have 8 points this season, which swiftly leads me on to the next point, which talks about the average positions. And this is the diagram being shown is the game against Spurs, and it's a team that played against Spurs. And I think it's very easy to understand what the issue is. There's 2 problems that I have with this structure. There is no goddamn structure. That's one of them. There is no structure. What formation are they playing? Yes, I know. Teams don't have a genuine formation in game. I get it. And all of that is on paper. But seriously, you should be able to depict who is playing where and why are they playing there. Why is De Bruyne not on this? You want to know why? Because he's playing at the same position as Jesus. That means that we don't have a focal point. Why are the wingers not high and wide? The wingers should be higher. They're not. The fullbacks are inverted fullbacks. I understand why, but then the wingers have to stay high. They're tucking in, which means Spurs, and they did this effectively, all they had to do was crowd up the middle of the park, have their fullbacks and their wingers, who were Reguilon, Aurier, Son, and Bergwijn, stay incredibly wide, and that's it. So why are Man City playing like this? I don't understand. And it's not a rhetorical question. I genuinely don't understand why Man City are playing this inverted or this narrow when it's not required, in my opinion. They have the players. Walker and Cancelo can play wide. They can play both. Sterling and Mahrez should be able to. They're wingers. They should be able to play wide. And Jesus, I love Gabriel, but he's too much of everything. He's too little of everything. He's a good striker, but he's also I think right now, as a City fan, or as a neutral even, to have no bias, I think everybody would rather have Sergio Aguero over Gabriel Jesus. You know why? Because Sergio Aguero doesn't do this defensive bullshit, and yes, I know it's important for a player to have defensive capabilities. But right now, Man City don't need defensive capabilities. Man City need a striker who stays up and hampers the defenses of opposition teams, and stays up and constantly makes runs in behind, makes smart runs. And the last one, this is a slightly controversial or less talked about topic in my opinion, and this is delved into or split even into two parts. First of all, Pep's motivation, and second of all, the team's motivation. And I'm gonna just say this before I talk about both of them. These are not excuses. Nothing in this video is an excuse. Okay, so let's talk about Pep's video. Pep's lack of motivation, even. Sorry. Now, just after lockdown started, Pep lost his mother to coronavirus. And ever since then, I haven't seen Pep go around like his crazy self as much. And people say, oh, well, he still does it. Seriously, you guys have not watched him if you think this is what he does. Man, the man spent full 90 out of 90 minutes. He spent 90 minutes just lecturing his players. You could be winning 5-0 and he'd still be telling you, what are you supposed to do? And he doesn't do that anymore. And I feel like after the loss of his mother due to coronavirus, may she rest in peace, I do feel like he's lost a bit of motivation for the game. And while I was very happy, to say the least, with the contract extension, a part of me also kind of felt like maybe this was the right time. Let this year finish and bring in a new coach such as Julian Nagelsmann. I'm not taking a dig at Pep, but the fact of the matter is sometimes you need a break from football. You have to also remember this is the longest project ever, even longer than the Barcelona ones, which were not arguably, they were his best teams, if not the best teams ever. So it's quite astounding to see that he's going to be going into his 5th year soon of Manchester City. And secondly, the team's lack of motivation. Oh my God, this team looks dejected. De Bruyne doesn't want to, and yes, he's the star player, but he doesn't look like he wants to play. He looks tired. Raheem can't finish. The midfield looks sloppy. The team don't look like they can win it all, and maybe the spine of the team needs replacing. And I just think that Manchester City are going to have a big problem, and are having a big problem, with the lack of leadership. They don't have players like Vincent Kompany or David Silva, and now when Sergio Aguero does eventually leave, they don't have those players to lead them, and it's a problem because without them, players are not able to step up. Yes, De Bruyne is a talented player, but does he do enough? Does he really do enough for people? Compare him with Vincent Kompany. Does he really do enough? And they're both captains, right? Does De Bruyne, and I know Fernandinho is captain, but right now because of his injury. But does he do enough? No, he doesn't. And I think Ruben Dias is a very good signing because he looks like a leader at the back. And he came out in the press conference at the Spurs game and he said, we know we have to do better and we really wanted to win that game. And he's taking responsibility, which is a big thing. But I still think they need to have more leaders in that squad and players that can keep you motivated at all times. And while part of that is down to Pep, part of it has to be from yourself. Like people always say, people cannot be motivated by other people. People have to find it in themselves. And right now, this Man City team needs to find self-belief, because when you don't have self-motivation, you don't play well. And it's clearly being shown when the league table, for Manchester City to have 8 points, that's disgraceful. They had the same amount of points after 3 games last season. And the biggest moments in their season, so let's talk in chronological order. The 5-2 thumping to Leicester City, a quite hurtful game to watch, not just as a Man City fan, but even I think from a neutral's perspective. It's quite astonishing to see this Manchester City side concede 5. And before people come to defend that, oh, they didn't have a lot of players, did people watch the Liverpool game? They thumped Leicester 3-0 at Anfield without a lot of players, without a Salah, without a Van Dijk. So I do think that's not an excuse. And this did cue the signing of Ruben Dias, which has been good. But this is a big psychological blow for the team. And I think this was the beginning of the end for a lot of players. They know who they are. Benjamin Mendy, Eric Garcia. Just get the hell out of the club, bro. I'm so glad Barcelona want him. He's a useless defender. And the next game was the Manchester City vs Liverpool game. This game pissed me off the most out of these 3 games, Because I feel like if we won this game, they would have beaten Spurs. 1000% they would have beaten Spurs. Man City missed 2 chances, one of which was a De Bruyne penalty, which he scores 9 times out of 10, and he missed it. And then it was a Gabriel Jesus header around the 15th minute, which Aguero scores, by the way. I'm just saying. And then, last but not least, the Tottenham defeat, which has put Jose Mourinho's Tottenham top of the league. Yes, Jose Mourinho. Yes, Tottenham are top of the league. Yes, 2020 is a weird year. But more astonishingly, Manchester City are 13th with 8 points. A lot of changes have to be made. And I'm not suggesting any solutions in this video because, honestly speaking, I don't know any solutions. And that's the worrying thing. I don't know how to fix these problems. Of course, I'm not going to know it, but I don't think a lot of people know how to fix these problems. You can't just say bring in Foden. That's not going to address all the problems that we have. Or bring in Jack Grealish. No, it's not going to address all the problems we have. Or bring in Lionel Messi. No, that's not how it works. There is a much bigger problem with Manchester City right now. And before they sort that out, if they go into the December period, that winter period, with this form, I would fear for Pep Guardiola. So anyways, that was a quite enthusiastic video to see the least, and to say the least even. And I got quite angry at the start, but I cooled down a bit, and I'm laughing about it now. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna be doing a couple more teams, but I'm just waiting to see. Like, I might be doing a Manchester United one soon, possibly even on Thursday, and I might have a Manchester United fan with me, or maybe even two, who I will be asking if they want to join. So, yep. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and peace out.